for our tax base. But if you have all these vacant stores and businesses all over the town, it sets a bad karma. People basically are going to look at a community and they're going to feel that the community is struggling. On the other hand, the businesses are exciting. If we're getting new businesses, if they're thriving, it creates positive momentum, which also helps property values and encourages more people to want to move into a community. And I'm also excited that the students are going to have an opportunity to interact with some of the most brilliant business leaders in the country. They'll be able to get some great ideas, innovative ideas, and they could work with the local, the local businesses and help them come up with ideas, out of the box ideas that they might not have thought of, which could help them succeed. And another thought that I have is this is a great opportunity for students, because the students are going to learn how to be creative. They're going to interact and make contacts with some of the top people in the country, maybe in the world. We had a meeting, Michael and me, about a week ago with the CIO of Zoom International, and he wants to mentor the students. Now, how many students from anywhere else in the country have an opportunity in high school of chatting with the CIO of a world renowned company? So I think this is going to be a life-changing experience for the businesses, for the students, and it also helps, selfishly as town supervisor, it helps me because, I don't have the answers to what we should do with the businesses. And if the students come up with creative ideas and the businesses actually survive and are doing well, the town is going to also get, credit. So it's a win-win-win for, everybody.
That's awesome, Paul. Thank you so much. We're so excited to be here with you.
Thank you.
Next to your partner, who helps run the town intern program. She is truly an inspiring human being, Miss Judith. So Judith, where are you calling in from? What's your name? And what's one thing you're excited about in 2021?
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Judith Beville, Greenburgh Town Clerk, and I'm calling in from Town of Greenburgh, County of Westchester, State of New York. And I am just so excited about being a part of this amazing opportunity for young people, because having been a former teacher, teaching upstate New York, here in Westchester County and in New York City, I just love to be a part of the learning experience of young people, because I know what you're going to be able to do with this. This is like a golden nugget. You're going to be able to take this golden nugget and use it as a building block for your resumes, for your career learning and experience and networking. And it's just going to be such an amazing opportunity for you. So that's my excitement. I'm passionate about being a part of a learning opportunity for young people, because I also look forward to learning from you. When I was a fourth grade teacher, I told my fourth graders, look, most of the time you're the students and I'm the teacher, right? They said, yes. I said, but there's some times when you might be the teacher and I'll be the student, because I know that there's something you can teach me, something I can learn from you. That's what I look forward to, learning from each of you. Thank you.
Wow. Who else wants to be led by Judith? Raise your hand. Thank you very much. Yep, all of us. Thank you, Judith. You're so inspiring as always. Last but not least, someone who continues to help support this program and is someone who does so much at Greenburgh, my dear friend Garrett. So Garrett, where are you calling in from? What's your name? And what's one thing you're looking forward to in 2021?
Thank you, Michael. I'm Garrett Duquesne, and I'm the Planning Commissioner for the town of Greenburgh. I'm calling in from my residence, Beacon, New York, up in Dutchess County. And my goodness, could not state it better than Supervisor Feiner and Clerk Beville. Excellent opening remarks there. And quite honestly, I'm excited in 2021 for simple things such as, our residents being able to congregate in parks, and our residents being able to be in public spaces, our residents being able to, feel comfortable in restaurants, and, building on what we're about to embark on. Very excited for, our private sector and our businesses that have been hurting so much for the past year. So I know they're going to rebound, and I feel like this program is destined to accelerate that. And I think even if we touch 4 to 6 businesses over the course of the various cohorts, I feel like we can lay down a template that can be used for other businesses in the town. And quite honestly, it could be a model for, beyond the town of Greenburgh. So I'm glad to be a part of this group, and I'm encouraged by all the bright students that have joined us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Garrett. Yeah, you're about to get your mind blown because I'm going to hand it over to my co-founder, Brian Patrick Murphy, who happens to live in the exact same town you do, which made him just get so excited. So Brian, what's your name? Where are you calling in from? And what's one thing you're excited about in 2021?
I'm Brian Patrick Murphy, co-founder of Zuckerberg Institute, and I'm so excited to meet all of you. And Garrett, we got to go have a walk and have some coffee. I live on 19 Fowler Street in Beacon, so I'm going to send you a message right after this call. I'm going to get your information from Michael. But I'm so excited to be here, founding this company with Michael and our special guest here about to meet, Randi Zuckerberg, and working. Michael and I have both been college professors as well as run 3 or 4 different businesses together over the years, and working with high school students is my passion, as you will very quickly learn. And I'm just so excited to be here. Paul, Judith, Garrett, everybody that's been involved from Greenburgh are just wonderful, spectacular people. And Judith, I feel like I'm going to go run a marathon tonight. You got me so jacked up. Like I'm going to run to Garrett's house after this probably and like be like, let's go, Garrett. But I'm just so excited to be here, Michael. So I'm turning it over to you and I'm going to shut up.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, so something that Judith said, I always think everyone's your teacher. And I always think I'm always going to listen and say, okay, what do I have to learn? So even though we're on this call late at night and we're here because we want to learn about this process, Brian and I, Paul, Judith, Garrett, we all felt it was important that we bring someone truly inspiring. This is someone who is not only the founder of Zuckerberg Institute, she is one of the most impressive people I know. She literally does everything. I don't know how she does it. She has so many awards and accolades I could only dream to have. But most importantly, I get to call her a colleague and a friend. And today, she is going to be someone that I want to interview, and just to give you a little glimpse of what we do here at Zuckerberg Institute. So Randi, I want to know your name, where are you calling in from, and what's one thing you're excited about in 2021?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm Randi Zuckerberg. It's so wonderful to be here. Paul, Judith, just my heart goes out to you with so much thanks and gratitude. I know that, this whole idea stemmed from a spark from all of us getting together on a Zoom with my father, and to see what the two of you and your team have done to really take this to the finish line is truly remarkable and incredible, especially in a pandemic time. So we're just so grateful to be working with you and piloting this program in Greenburgh. So that's what I'm grateful for and excited about. I grew up right next door in Dobbs Ferry. I went to preschool in Greenburgh. I had countless birthday parties at the Greenburgh Nature Center. So the town is very near and dear to me. I often check back in with old friends saying, is this business still opening? Gosh, I hope this business survives COVID. And that's one thing I know that all of us are thinking about right now. I think all of us are focused on our hometowns and our local towns and the small businesses that are so near and dear to us, and just really thinking about anything we can do to help them survive and come out on the other end. So I'm grateful to have this incredible brain power together to solve this together.
That's so inspiring, Randi. It brings tears to my eyes. But I want to ask, because it's so powerful to think that the students in this room, you were just like them. You were sitting in a high school classroom. You were dreaming about your future. So I actually want to start there. What did you want to do in high school? What did you dream about doing? What did you imagine?
Oh my gosh. Well, It's funny. My dream, I always wanted to sing on Broadway, was my biggest dream when I was young. And then somehow I wound up on the front lines of social media and technology, the complete opposite career from theater that you can imagine. But one thing that I always wished, looking back on my high school and college education, was I wished that I had a little bit more real world experience. I got such a great education. I was really prepared to be a thinker going into the world. But I had never just really had an opportunity to get my hands dirty. I studied economics from textbooks, but I never really understood what it meant for a small business to make payroll or have to make difficult decisions. So that's why I think this is so incredible, this program, and so inspiring, because this is, you, by going through this program, the students here are basically going to the business school of life. And there is nothing that prepares you more for the world, for entrepreneurship, for college, for any career that you're going to have, than having these real world experiences. And we're creating it for you because it's something I desperately wish that I personally had had when I was a student.
That's amazing. And, it's like one of those things where as we go through the world, it's really about getting into the real world. So I actually want to go to that moment. You step out of college, you step out of education, and you start to you have such a really interesting path. You started in marketing, but it went in a way that you never thought could imagine. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. And the story of my early career is basically a story about how sometimes things that seem unlucky are the biggest blessings in your life. So after college, I got a job at a marketing agency in New York City. And all of the other new grads who started got staffed on things that seemed really glamorous, campaigns with celebrities or the Olympics or the Super Bowl, or really cool products that I thought, would be really exciting to market. Anyway, they told me that my job was going to be on this brand new team that they were starting called digital marketing. At that time in 2003, digital marketing did not exist. I thought I was getting put in a dead end job. I called my mom and cried. I was like, I don't know what this digital marketing thing, my career is over. I'm so bummed. Anyway, fast forward 2 years, and all of those other new hires were still full-time pouring coffee on television sets. That was the only thing they were still doing 2 years later. And I was basically running the digital marketing team even at age 23. And it was then that I started hearing from my brother saying, hey, Randi, I'm starting this little project called thefacebook.com, and I really need someone who understands digital marketing. So will you come and give me some advice? And I went out to California thinking I would be there for 2 days to help him over a weekend. And 10 years later, I was still in California as an executive at Facebook. So that was an incredibly wild ride, but it all started from kind of that accidental moment getting staffed on a brand new team.
And, speaking of Broadway, you said that when you were in high school, you wanted to be on Broadway. And here comes another accidental moment in your life, right? You actually get a call to go be be a singer, be an actor on Broadway, which was remarkable. So how did that happen?
I still love to sing. So I always kind of performed on the side. I was the lead singer for this very cheesy 80s rock band out in Silicon Valley. And people in the tech world have low standards for excellence in the arts. So we were able to stand out as a really good band, even though we were terrible. Anyway, the producers of Rock of Ages, a Broadway musical in New York City, started calling around in Silicon Valley saying, we're looking for a tech personality to come guest star in our musical. Does anyone know of a tech personality who could also rock some 80s rock music? And they said that of 10 people they talked to, all 10 people said, call Randi right now. So out of the blue, they called me and offered me a part on Broadway. I was 32 years old. I had given up on my dream over a decade before that. And sitting in my living room, they just said, do you want to come on Broadway sometime in the next few months. And I said, how about Monday? And I moved to New York the next day. And so for me, a lot of these lessons are, they're almost the opposite of what you learn in school. In school, you're taught to have a 4-year plan, right? You're going to go to high school, and then at the end of that, you're going to go to college, and you're taught to think long term. But real life is about being able to pivot on a moment's notice. It's about seeing an opportunity that falls into your lap and getting on that plane the next day and changing your entire life. That's what running a business is about. That's what being an entrepreneur is about. And so even if those aren't the skills that you're going to learn in school, those are the skills that you're going to learn right here with us at Zuckerberg Institute and the town of Greenburgh, so that you are incredibly prepared to be the entrepreneurs of the future.
I love that. And especially because I know you lead from the front, right? You're someone who is constantly reinventing and doing things I could never imagine, right? So you go on Broadway, then you start Zuckerberg Media, and you end up starting the Institute. What propelled you to begin to start those companies?
Well, I think for me, one of the biggest things is that I loved everything about being in Silicon Valley and on the front lines of these new industries. But one thing that always perplexed me was why I was the only woman in every room that I was in for 10 years. And I always wondered that, because in America, there are more women graduating college than men. So women have advanced degrees at a higher rate, yet you get out into these industries where these are high paying, interesting jobs on the forefront of change, and there are no women in the room at all. And that always deeply bothered me. So when I was able, the wonderful thing about singing on Broadway, first of all, it was a great experience, but I knew the second that I was not long for that. I'm like, cool, I get to check that off my list, but that's not my long-term career. But it allowed me to step away from Silicon Valley and gain a fresh perspective. And I thought, this next chapter of my life, I really want to dedicate it to giving opportunity to people who are a bit overlooked. When you think about financing that goes into startups in this country, less than 4% goes to women. And when we talk about that, we're really talking about white women, because it's less than 0.5% of financing into startups that goes to women of color. And so that's something that keeps me up at night. I think it's something that should keep all of us up at night, because this country was built on the backs of small businesses and of entrepreneurs of every age, every race, every gender. So that's something that Michael and Brian and I can tell Paul and Judith share a deep passion for empowering all of us to be the entrepreneurs that really change the face of what innovation looks like in this country. So that's something I'm passionate about, and I hope that's something that all of us on this call share.
Yeah, what I every time I hear you speak about your mission, I think it's so moving, because it's so connected to who you are. And I think that's what we attempt to do with the students, is to help them find their voice, to say that they too belong, that they too can be an entrepreneur. And so why do you believe high school students are really poised to be good entrepreneurs and innovators at this moment right now?
I think this is a perfect time to be a student and to be an entrepreneur, because first of all, it's a great time to take a huge risk. For me, I'm sitting here, I have 3 kids, I have a house, like I have all of these complicated things in my life and extra expenses and responsibilities. When I take a big risk, like starting a business or jumping into things, I got to take a lot of other people into account in my life, not just me. But when you're a student, you have the luxury of just jumping full in and taking risks without having all those added responsibilities. I also think you're coming to this with such a fresh perspective. Even though I try to come to everything with a fresh perspective, I always know that a little bit of me is biased by how I've seen things done before, or how other people have told me that it's supposed to be done in the workplace. I'm jealous of the fact that all of you are digital natives. Even though I was on the forefront of creating Facebook, I had to learn technology as a second language. And when you learn technology as a second language, you'll never, ever be as good at it as someone who has technology as a first language, which is all of you. So I think there is so much that you can add to these small businesses. And I mean, these small businesses, they need you. They need your fresh way of thinking. They need your technology expertise. And I think it's going to be so meaningful to see what happens when everyone works together.
And I know you have a really packed schedule and you have to go in a moment, but I just want to ask you one more thing. First of all, I want to say that you're one of our lead mentors in this program. So the students that will be joining us for our 2 cohorts to come, they're going to get to learn from you even further. We're going to get to do things together, ask questions together, and really begin to solve the problems that these businesses are facing together. But before you come back, I'm always interested, if this student got off this call and they only remembered one thing, what's the one thing you want them to remember from this call?
Wow. Well, gosh, I'm just so full of gratitude for so many things. But I think the one thing to remember is that moments of crisis, like the one we're in right now, even though it feels uncomfortable, it's scary, it's challenging on so many levels, these are the moments where great ideas are born. Because when things are going right, no one wants to rock the boat. No one wants to change things. Try pitching something to a business where things are going right. They're not even going to listen to you. But I guarantee that right now, people are listening. People will try anything. They will try creative things. They will try big ideas. So if you look at the top companies of the world, they were all started during periods of crisis and periods of economic downturn, because that is when the world is receptive to big ideas and disruption. So if you're sitting there thinking, I couldn't possibly do this, I don't have what it takes, like, this is the perfect moment right now to start and to learn.
And it starts with this small room. It starts with this community. It starts by getting together, asking questions. And I want to acknowledge there's some really, really, really special people in this room right now. There's, of course, Paul, there's Judith, there's Garrett, but there's also George Gamina from the Rockefeller Foundation's here, Winsome Gordon, who I spoke to, who helps run the philanthropy of Greenburgh. These are important people that are supporting these students and therefore
Thank you.
supporting businesses.
Huge virtual round of applause. It's so meaningful and impactful for me and for all of us to have your support. Thank you.
And we're grateful for you, for your time, Randi. And of course, we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing everyone, and this is by far the last you'll see of me, because I look forward to seeing all of these incredible projects come to life. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Randi. So Randi's going to go because she has something else that she has to get to. For now, I am going to just begin to talk about what does this program entail. That's number one. I'm going to talk a little bit about the details of the program. And then most importantly, I'm going to talk about this application process. Then we will have time for questions. So first of all, I'm just going to go through what the program entails. Then I'm going to discuss what we will do within that program. And then I will discuss the application process, which I'm super excited about, and we're super excited about to gather together. So first of all, I just want to start, one of the first things I want to encourage you, everything's an opportunity to learn, right? So I always encourage you, start with why. If you're speaking to a group of people, share with them why this matters. So why does this matter? Is I believe you're my future colleagues. I believe all of you have more answers than I could ever imagine. Judith is my teacher, and she reminded me that at the very beginning of this call. You're my teachers. And so what Brian and Randi and all the people within our network at Zuckerberg Institute do is we facilitate conversations and questions. We come together and we ask ourselves, what is our mutual aim and how can we be better versions of ourselves? So Brian is like, if you imagine I'm really excited right now, Brian is like level 10 excitement. So I'm just going to have him speak about this just for a moment, because after that, we'll all get fired up. So it also changes the dynamic of the call. So Brian, talk a little bit more about why this program matters, and then I'll go into some boring details.
Yeah, because I believe as Randy said, it's a time for action. And I look at all the people on this call, and I was a college professor, and I have 2 kids myself, and I've run a lot of businesses over the years. And my favorite thing to do, matter of fact, Michael's been an employee of mine at a business I ran, and he was such an amazing employee that I said, let's leave this business and start our own business. And now we've started a couple of businesses since then, because that's how amazing he is. But I look at all of you on this call, and what inspires me is that I look at you and say, that's somebody I'm going to challenge more than they've ever been challenged before. I'm going to look at you all, and I'm going to be the friendliest person you ever meet, and so will Michael, but I'm also going to expect more from you than probably any person that you've ever worked with before. And I think that my specific background is my mom's a special ed teacher and my dad's a United States Marine. And I think that really interesting combination of people, of somebody that's going to demand a lot from you while also holding your hand and really being empathetic to you, is what I want to see out of businesses. I want to see you challenge your own thinking. I want to see you challenge each other's thinking. And I want to see you go into your schools and say, you know what? We are the people that can change the world in this generation, because it is your job to be better than Michael and I. It is your job to be better than Paul. It is your job to be better than Judith. And it is your job to be better than Garrett and everybody else on this call. I am so excited to learn from you, because the reality is I don't know how to do anything anymore. I'm old. And you guys know so much more stuff and are so much more able than we are. And my generation didn't do good enough. We left you in this mess, and I need you to save us. And I'm so excited to watch it happen. So thank you for being here. And I cannot wait to have high expectations for you and to see you exceed my expectations.
Told you. Let me go a little bit more into just one more step of why, is that all the businesses or companies that you will work for, most of them don't exist in this current moment. Randi, who was just on this call, is a great example. When she was at college, social media didn't exist. She happened to be on the front lines and help create it, but that didn't exist. And now social media has literally changed the face of the world. Something that she made called Facebook Live is in the hands of 1 billion people. 2 billion people use that product that she dreamt of in a little closet. So I just want to acknowledge and validate. I want you to really, really hear this, is like you are sitting on an idea, and all you need to do is surround yourself with people of like-minded values that encourage you, see you, and will challenge you to take action on that idea. So that's really the thrust of this program. It's really at the core, it's a leadership program. It starts with leadership. It starts with how we show up, how we communicate, how we listen. And that's really the curriculum we go through for the first month. The second month, we start to really work with the businesses. And for 2 months, through a method of inquiry, which is through our partnership with the ASU Interplanetary Initiative and NASA. Yes, we get to work with like the future of education. It's really cool. We are going to learn how to ask bigger questions and how to come together and to take action, and how we are going to solve the problems that these businesses are facing. And we will do that over a period of 2 months in small groups to help those businesses. And then we'll come at the end and we'll share our findings. We'll share where we failed. We'll share where we need to get better. We'll decide how we're going to measure our growth. And this is something that we believe can be sustainable. And then you can become future leaders of future cohorts. Right now, we are planning for 2 cohorts, one starting in March and one starting in the summer. So if you can't do March or you can't do the summer, that's okay. You will get preference. You can choose which preference you want, or you can attempt to say, I'm available for both. This is a program because you all are, I read all of your applications. It literally, every application we got, we would always send emails back and forth and just say how blown away we were by all of you in this room. Thank you so much for your thoughtful applications. That's the first step. You reached out, you took a step. You said, I'm interested in this. So now we're going to challenge you to take another step to apply for this program. And I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But already, you're already impressive. Really, 80% of life is showing up. 20% is being smart and intelligent and having skills, right? 80% is showing up and saying, I love problems. It's called a growth mindset. I love problems. I want to solve problems, because that's what all business is. It's just solving problems every day. So let me talk a little bit about the application process and a little bit about the time management. So You will only have to meet once a week for 90 minutes. It will be in the evening during the weekdays. We'll decide on the date soon, but it's just going to be conducive to the group and what's best for the group. But it's only going to be 90 minutes per week because we know you all are super, super busy. But there will be a little bit of work you'll do on the outside. Brian and I will always be available to you. But it will be important to us for those 3 months that we meet once a week during that time in the evenings. Let me talk about the application process, and then I'm going to open it up to any questions you may have. Here's the next step, and you're going to get an email about this later on tonight, okay? So if you need something to write with, write this down. So the next step of this application process, because you all are so impressive, this is why we're taking this next step. So you are going to seek out a business in your community, you individually, and inquire about the struggles that they are facing. So if I was to, I'll tell you what the questions are in the application. What is the business? What's the name of the business? Who's a contact in the business? What's the problems that they're facing? And you are going to provide what you believe is a solution to that problem. So simply, you're going to reach out. You can do this in so many ways. This is the first step of entrepreneurship and leadership and innovation. You have to go talk to someone, message someone, show up with someone. Find a local business, inquire where they're struggling, where they need help, and you identify a possible solution. This will be due 2 weeks from today. So it's Monday, February 1st. Give you about 2 weeks to do it. It's not as overwhelming as you may think. Sometimes the simplest solution is the most beautiful. Then what will happen is we will go over those applications, and then we will let you know by a week later. So by mid-February, we will know which cohort you are accepted into. And then we'll start to take steps from there. Judith is someone who really inspires me to always make sure everything's equitable. So I want to make this clear, is that the goal of these 2 cohorts is that it will be a well-balanced representation in terms of grade levels, right? So we're really looking for diverse ideas, thinking, places, ages, people. Diversity of ideas is what's going to be the key to any collaborative process and to growth. So we're going to model that together. Brian, am I missing anything from that process? I'm going to ask Paul and Judith next.
No, I want to say something very quickly about this step in the application process, and that is that I love that this is the application process, because a lot of you right now are going, how am I going to do this? I don't know anybody that runs a business, and I want to encourage you to keep it simple. You can call, you can show up when you're getting a cup of coffee and ask the manager and say, what kind of problems you've been facing? And here's the quick story. So I have a background in sales, and I've led hundreds of hours of sales workshops over the years and taught and trained sales teams. And there's a true statistic about salespeople, and that is even people that are in the process, this has a point, even people that are in the process of selling you something, there's a statistic that 80% of the time, they never directly ask you for the sale. So in other words, if I'm trying to sell you something, I never say, are you ready to buy this from me? Will you buy this product from me? And that was the biggest problem I faced as a sales trainer, is that all these people said they wanted to make money and they wanted to be salespeople, but when it came down to it, they wouldn't actually ask the other person for a sale. And so my reason to tell you the story is to say, don't let this step of the process be your hang up. Ask for it. I'm so-and-so. I'm just going to call somebody's name. I'm Stephen. I'm Andrew. I'm Leo. I'm Jake. I'm Cole. I'm Ethan. I'm Hannah. I'm Isabel. I'm Kimmy. And I'm here, and I'm doing an awesome program. And I want to know, what problems is your business facing since COVID happened? Oh, you're having a hard time making sales. You're having a hard time marketing. Great. Whatever it is. There it is. And get on with it. Don't let this be the holdup. Don't let this be the holdup. Don't be like every other high school student that wouldn't finish the process.
Paul, Mr. Paul, any wise thoughts from you, sir, in terms of this next step of the application process? Oh, I'm going to ask to unmute you.
Am I unmuted? Good.
Yes, sir.
I feel just like, I agree, don't be afraid. You're doing them a favor. There's a lot of resources that they could take advantage of by working with you. You could go, if you live in Hastings, you could go store by store. There's a bunch of students from similar schools, same schools. You could have a team, working together. So you could have 6 or 7 of you, say going to a deli in Ardsley, or a restaurant, in a restaurant, and you could offer, say, are you struggling? We have a group, we're going to be working with the Zuckerberg Institute. We really want to help you. We're going to have access to some of the top business leaders in the country. And I think, and also don't be discouraged if they say no. You may reach out to 10 businesses and 9 may say no. But what do they say? Thomas Edison had 10,000 experiments and they all failed, and then finally it was successful. So the thing is, figure every time you approach somebody, they're gonna slam the door at you. They're gonna laugh at you. They're not gonna take it seriously. But you know what? The business that takes advantage of your services, the other businesses 6 months from now are gonna be upset that they didn't take your offer. So that's basically what I'd like to see. And again, you have nothing to lose. If you reach out to a business, they don't want to take advantage, you lost nothing. Because right now, you have no interconnect, you're not involved with them anyway. So it doesn't really matter. So then just move on. But I think that that many businesses are going to be successful, and it doesn't have to be Main Street businesses. There's a limousine company that's having problems in Hartsdale. They said that they would like us to help, and they don't have a storefront. It's it's a business. I spoke to the Rivertowns Chamber of Commerce, somebody who's involved in that in Dobbs Ferry. They're really excited about this. I spoke to somebody in Hastings who's involved in civic activities. She's excited. You could speak to community leaders, and you could speak to the mayor. You could speak to village trustees. If somebody may have an online business, not a storefront, you could reach out to them. Just think of all the possibilities and then try thinking of ways we can help.
I love that, Paul. It's so inspiring. Judith, any wise words from you, my friend?
Well, I would just like to add to when Paul mentioned about a team. I see some of our former interns in this group. And so I know you've heard this expression before when I say that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So if you have a team, I recommend that you keep it small, but everyone has to pull their weight. Every link has to be strong in order to keep that chain together. So you hold each other accountable for the work that you are doing as a team. I also want to just add that, sadly, we look at the big stores like Lord & Taylor's going out of business. So that if a giant like Lord & Taylor's that's been around for centuries is going out of business, that there are small businesses that are struggling. So as was mentioned earlier, don't feel intimidated. Don't feel, shy about going up to a small business owner and introducing yourself and saying you're part of this group, and you'd like to find out what they're struggling with. So yeah, go for it. Go for it and have fun. And just learn all you can about this business so that you can then figure out how to help them.
I love that. I love that. And then also Garrett, because I know you work with a lot of small businesses in the town. What are some thoughts that you have that could inspire the students to take the next step?
Yeah, one thought that I had is, you guys are bringing the passion here, and you think about a business. If there's a business that you're like passionate about, if you're saying to yourself, my God, this little spot down the street for me has the best falafel. Not enough people know about this place. That's something you're going to get behind, and you are, if you're going to thrust yourself into that and be so much more interested in how to get them going because it's a great place, or if it's your yoga teacher or your karate sensei or something, and you just know they're good at their craft or whatever it is they do, that might be the business you want to target.
I love that, Garrett. And at the end of the day, right? It doesn't hurt. It only helps. Your intention is to help, right? So you're going there simply to help. If it's an inconvenience to them, that's okay. That's okay. That's totally fine. But we want to just continue to say to you, you can even be creative of how you do this process, of how you apply for this. Anything is welcomed. Your creativity is welcome. Your solutions are welcomed. We see you, and we're just here to help foster your passion, your innovation for these businesses. And I'm super, super excited about it. Because we only have a few minutes left, I'm going to open it up to the floor, and I'm just going to look around the room. Is there anyone, you could like raise your hand or wave. You're like, I do have a question about this, and I would just love to hear more. Brian, also, could you be my eyes as well? I'm just going to look around the room. So cool to see all of you. I've read all about you, and I've read all of your amazing, your resumes and everything. So thank you. Oh yeah, Priya, I see you. Hi, Priya.
For the application process, is there a limit of businesses to like ask and inquire?
No, that's a great question. So again, I would keep it simple, but it's no limit. And don't think about that quantity is going to be equal quality, but absolutely, bring some more ideas. So that's wonderful, especially if it inspires you, Priya. That's great. Great question. Any other thoughts? Look around.
I see B Herbstman. Hold on one second. I'll get you. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, hi. I'm just wondering, is the business that we kind of target for our application process going to be the one that we look at, like if we get in, like, is that what we're going to be helping out with?
It's a great question. So what will happen is as we collect everyone who applied, we'll begin to answer those questions as a group. So they will be entered to be a part of the process. And it will really depend on the cohort of the group and if there's any overlaps of people that we have accepted, or even as a group, who are the businesses that we feel like we could be the most effective on? So that's something that we'll begin to discuss when we start working together. But it's a great question.
And not to mention, Michael, I think the one thing that is more about us and the leaders of Greenburgh is just they may be willing to answer your questions, but may not want to participate as one of our businesses. But we'll deal with all that. You guys don't have to worry about that. So don't let the long term necessarily hesitate you from the short term of asking them.
Right. And just to reiterate, because if these businesses start asking you questions, well, what does that mean? Does that mean I have my time? No worries. You're just asking a question and giving a potential solution. We'll reach out to them. We'll take care of that process. So it's not in your hands. Any other questions? Oh yeah, Marissa. Hey, Marissa.
Hi. Do the businesses that we work with for the application process, should they be in Greenburgh or could they be in other towns?
So I'm going to turn to Paul for that answer, particularly because he knows the geography better than I.
You could basically help anywhere. You could pick any business. There's no geography.
There you go.
But again, this is really an experience, and my feeling is any business that we help is great, and we could all learn from it. Do you have any businesses that you're thinking of?
I'm going to unmute you, Marissa.
I just know of a small bakery in White Plains that I go to a lot, so I was wondering if I could work with them.
Perfect.
I love that. I saw Jake Orman. I saw you had a
And
hand.
I should just one other thing. You know, one of the values is, let's say you work at a bakery, and you come up with really creative ideas, and you have a good relationship. We could then share the information, the experiences you have with other bakeries in Greenburgh.
That's exactly right. Jake Orman, what's your question for you?
Yeah, my question was for the like finding a solution. Like, should we try to like I mean, or is it like personal liberty, or should we try to just like list solutions, like just naming like, oh, say we think like they could use a website, or should we like try to make like an actual like plan for them, kind of in like a sense?
Beautiful question, Jake. So I think, you know, the more, what does anyone look for? Here's a little lesson. What does anyone look for when you're trying to like invest in someone's business or get behind them? Is the person. So how, by you offering an innovative solution, how does that showcase who you are, what you believe in, right? So I'm going to make fun of my dear friend Brian. He does not like technology. So if he offered that they should do a website, I would be like, yeah, sure. He would be more about like going door to door and figuring out how to be in that way, because he's probably one of the most friendliest people I ever know. Does that make sense, Jake? So like you're looking at, what can I offer that's unique to me? Because here's the deal, none of you are the same. You're all so individually unique, so amazing, so inspiring. And so speak from that place of like, you know what, I'm passionate about blank, and I really believe that the solution could potentially be this, and this is what I really believe I could offer. Does that make sense, Jake? I'm going to unmute you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. That was a great question. Thank you for asking that.
Michael, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry, really quickly. I think this is clear, but in a nonstop effort to always be overly clear, because one thing I've learned in business is that you are never as clear as you think you are, and I've failed at this thousands of times. You're giving the solutions, your ideas on your application. You're not telling these businesses your solutions in that moment. Is everybody clear about that? You probably are, and maybe it seems like I'm talking down to you, but I don't mean that. What I mean is you're asking them, hey, what have you been struggling with? You're probably taking notes to yourself or thinking about it. And your solutions are what you're putting on your application to show us. You're not going to those businesses going, well, I'm going to tell you what to do right now, right? So that's not what that is about, if that was unclear at all. And Michael, I think one thing I would love to do for like 2 or 3 minutes here, because we have like 5 minutes, I would love to just randomly call on some people. That's something I like to do. And I like to challenge our students. You're the top of the top. I want to like just pick out some people that I'm looking at right here and see if people have been paying attention or excited to provide something. So I might just go through here and call on a couple folks and just say, hey, tell us your name, what year in school you are, and one interesting thing you heard on the call tonight. So is everybody good with that? Awesome. Even if you're not, that's cool. We're going to play anyway. So I got Isabel here. You've been very present. I've seen your face right there in the front of my screen. So tell us your first and last name, what school you go to, and what year in school you are.
Sorry, I had trouble unmuting. I'm Isabel Kelsey. I go to Ardsley and I'm a senior. Something interesting that I learned today or something that I really enjoyed hearing is all the enthusiasm and the optimism. That's something that I have a lot of, so I'm excited.
Awesome. That's great. I'm going to kick it over to Augustine. I've got Augustine over here. So Augustine, tell us your full name, what school you go to, and one interesting thing and what year in school you are, and one interesting thing you heard on the call tonight so far.
My name is Augustine Kirianthan, and I go to Ardsley, and I'm a junior. And one interesting thing that I heard on the call today was that all the successful businesses in today's world came up during times of conflict. So that was something that was really fascinating that I heard today.
I love that. Yeah, totally. I think that's amazing. Let me do 1 or 2 more here. What about you, Leanne Singh? Tell us your name, where you're calling in from, what year in school you are, and one interesting thing you heard on the call tonight.
Hi, my name is Leanna Singh, and one interesting thing that I learned on the call tonight, I'm a junior in high school, by the way. I go to Irvington High School. And my idea was not the idea, but what I learned was that most crises, like the greatest ideas come from the greatest ideas come from when crises are happening.
Love it, love it, love it. Let's go to Cole Kerner. Cole, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Doing fine.
So tell us your name, where you're calling, what school you go to, what year in school you are, and one interesting thing you heard on the call tonight.
Yes. So I actually I guess I'm cheating because I'm not really a high schooler. I'm in my first year of college, but I'm taking a leave because of COVID and all the stuff surrounding that. But it's my first year at Grinnell College. And one thing that I heard on the call tonight is, I guess, like the application process. I guess I just find the application process very interesting in terms of finding a business and kind of going out there and almost kind of like proving yourself instead of just saying like, here's a bunch of paper that says what I've done.
Love it. Totally agree. I promise these are my last two. I'm going to be very quick. Great job. What about you, Corey G? I see you there on the screen. Tell us your name, where you're calling in from, high schools, what year in school, and one interesting thing you heard on the call tonight.
Hi, my name is Corey Grant. I at Alexander Hamilton High School in Elmsford, and I'm a junior. And something interesting I heard on the call tonight was when Randy was talking about like how life doesn't always go like way you expect it to, and you just have to be able to like pivot to adapt to your situation.
Love it, love it, love it. Last one, we've got Silas Williams. Silas Williams, what do you got for us? Finish us strong. What school do you go to? What year in school are you? And what's one interesting thing you heard on the call tonight?
Hi, my name is Jordan. Actually, it's my dad's laptop. So I'm a junior and I go to Valhalla High School. And one of the interesting things was when Miss Randy was talking about the statistics, specifically of women and women of color and the spaces she occupies. And I thought that was interesting how she is trying to further diversity and inclusion.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm going to shut up now. Thank you all for jumping in, but that is a great representation of what you will get on a call with Michael and I. One of the expectations we will make sure that we are very clear about before we begin all of our mentorship calls is that we will ask and expect and demand that you show up listening and prepared. This is an opportunity that most students will never get. Most students your age do not get these kinds of opportunities to be in a program like this. Michael and I, you could, right after this, we have a call with 12 of our high school students we worked with last year. Tonight we're getting on a call because they're getting on a call to celebrate that about 8 of the 12 got full rides to Harvard, Yale, UPenn, Northwestern. Michael could name some of the other schools. I can't remember off the top of my head, but these are students that come from all over America, and we're getting on a call right after this to celebrate the fact that we got to see them through their applications to college process. So we will demand that you show up in ways that I say demand in a loving way. We will ask that you show up in ways that aren't the same expectations that normal high school kids have. You are not normal, you are exceptional, and we are excited to watch you be exceptional.
Last but not least, because we will always end on time, is that we're so grateful for you. It all starts in this room. It all starts in this room. Look around this room. You all are future leaders of this community. And if there's one thing I want you to leave with, is that it starts in your own home, and then it starts in your own community. That's where you start to lead. And if you can start there, then you can start to make global change. And that's what we're going to do with this program. We're going to start by saving the businesses that surround us, and therefore, in fact, saving ourselves. So it's 9 o'clock. You're going to get an email about this process that has a link. That email will go out in about an hour once this recording processes. So you can always watch back this recording to get more insights. This recording will be live for 2 weeks, and then the application's due 2 weeks from today on Monday, February 1st, which is it's a little bit more than 2 weeks. We'll say that. Okay, 9 o'clock. Have a great night. Sleep well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Winsome. Thank you, George. All of you Greenburgh. You inspire me so much. Take care.
Thank you.